Hey folks, Jerome Forestwood here. It is 3:06 p.m. on June 6, 2023 in West End, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. It is 22 degrees outside on a sunny afternoon in the city. In this video I walked for 2 kilometers starting by the Translink bus stop at Robson and Butte, then strolled northeast on Butte, northwest on Alberni, southwest on Jervis, northwest on Robson, and southwest on Denman, ending my trek at English Bay Beach. If you would like to support the channel, click the heart icon to send me a super thanks. To receive updates, follow me on Instagram at jforestwood. And if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, share it, and subscribe. Hey you folks, Jerome Forestwood here. Just doing a narrated video. Just left the bus stop at Robson and Butte and turned down Butte, and now we're on Alberni. This is part of the West End, and we're currently in a residential area with lots of condominium towers. A few offices still over on Georgia Street, but yeah, mainly condominium towers, apartments, and a few single family dwellings that have still held on in this part of the strip. Of course, the further we get into the West End and closer to Stanley Park, you'll see a few more single family homes. But the West End has changed over time, and there's a lot more apartment buildings down in this area. And not always giant skyscrapers like you'd see in Montreal or Toronto. This is going to be Alberni and Jervis Street. And we have the right of way, so we'll go. When you are in Vancouver, if you are interested in seeing how some of the locals live, it's good to go down these different residential areas. Walking down a residential area in the West End is definitely something that can open up your eyes when you contrast it with walking down a residential area in, for example, the Granby Woodland area compared to, what the west side would be. So that'd be East Van, that'd be or downtown on the West End, and then over on the west side as well, over in Kitsilano. There's very different styles of living, all similar as in they're Vancouver, and they share that common Vancouver experience, but very different when you start to sit down with locals and compare what the neighborhoods are like. It's not a bad thing, it's just a friendly comparison of what you see. So we're at Broughton Street here, pronounced by Translink as Broughton. Pronounced by Google as Broughton. And we have actually the right of way here. On Davie Street, though, you would be hitting a light. So that's of course why I did stop, out of habit. We'll continue walking along Alberni Street. Looks like this big empty building we're walking past is for lease. Interesting. Now we'll cross the street. We're crossing Nicola right now. And we're gonna walk up Nicola Street and over to Robson, which isn't that far away. You just have to pass Ehu Lane up here. You want to know a little bit about the history of Vancouver? Laneway signs are one way you can do it, actually. So Ehu Lane is named after Kanaka Ranch. It's the Hawaiian settlers. And from my reading of history books, like Vancouver was awesome. Based off the popular blog, Vancouver is awesome. So it's just a play in words. There were several Hawaiian settlers who settled in this area a long time ago, in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. All the way around this area and all the way out to Stanley Park too. We'll hit the crosswalk. We're at the intersection of Robson and Nicola, or Nicola and Robson, because we came off of Nicola. Lights are a little slower here, so just be patient with the lights and they'll change color. And looks like they're going to change right about now. Perfect. Okay, here we go. So we're crossing Robson Street, and now we're going to turn north along Robson Street, or in a northwesterly direction, because Vancouver is set up on a diagonal grid instead of a horizontal and vertical grid. Over here is the Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witnesses. If that's your jam, okay, that's cool. And that ain't my jam, but it's here. And then a whole bunch of Pan-Asian restaurants. So everything from Thai to Korean, Chinese, Japanese. So just a good mix. Vietnamese here, several Vietnamese. Then a few Central Asia as well. Like the Donair shops a little further down. And there's also a public market over here. Mind you, this public market isn't as lively as some other public markets. And that's because it has to compete with this lively street down here. You can tell it's not that lively when I don't walk in it very often to show it off to you folks. But the people in there are really good at what they do, so it's definitely worth a dash into the Robson Market if you're in the neighborhood. There's everything from insurance services. You can get some really good quality luggage for a cheap price. There's your firmware hackers in there who'll fix your cell phone, hardware, all that type of stuff. And there's a nice food court above, but it's really only open during the weekdays for lunch. So if you're in here during the lunch hour, you can pop in there and get a good deal if those restaurants are what serves you. Otherwise, there's plenty of restaurants outside too. So there's lots of options. This would be the local Viet sub over here. These guys have one of the best banh mi's in town. And they and me have ate a lot of banh mi because we're big banh mi fans. So, oh my gosh, look at this bus. It's just crammed full of people. Happy I'm not on that one. Been in that situation before though, both in Vancouver and Toronto, and a few times in Montreal as well. This is the intersection of Robson and Bidwell Street.
Are you going to Izzy's?
And it's our turn, so we'll cross. Here in the neighborhood, there's a few restaurants up there too. There's Momo Sushi, and then there's a nice grocery store up there too, so it's worth checking out. Just passing by the liquor store. If you are a member of the CIBC Bank, or you just need an ATM, this would be one of the places that you could come to if you're in the area. And right next to the CIBC is a Safeway. Now would be the local grocery store in the area. And they recently took down some construction. The Safeway took down construction. So now they have their upper patio open. So you can go up there and you can have a bite and have a look over the intersection of Robson and Denman from there, which is pretty cool. Must admit. And it's that time of season where they got a lot more of these stalls just popping up on the streets here. Some of them have vendors' licenses, some of them don't. Alright, you can come down here. Looks like they're selling bucket hats, and beautiful hats, and t-shirts. So yeah, spend your money here. Spend lots of your money here. Looks like she's just getting set up, but trust me, there's going to be a crowd passing by her tonight, so she will be busy. That is a great location. And we'll walk up Denman Street here and over to English Bay Beach. Passing Holy Guacamole, one of the local Mexican cuisine stores in the area. There's lots of different Mexican restaurants here in Vancouver. It has a quite vibrant Latino culture, or Latin culture, so come on down and check out some of those restaurants. I recently took Bae to a taqueria over on Yukon and West Broadway on the Yukon Street there, so you can check that out. It's on Yukon Street between West Broadway and West 8th Street. You can figure that out if you look on a map which store it is. It's especially Google Maps. And this is the intersection of Harrow and Denman. And we'll cross Harrow Street here and continue walking along Denman. We'll be walking in a southwesterly direction over here. More west than south. Heading over to English Bay Beach. Across the street, you got the West End Community Center. There's a hockey arena in there. It's also the Jor Fortes branch of the Vancouver Public Library system. And this is Barclay we're going to cross. We'll continue here on Denman Street. Looks like Cavs Epic here. It's starting to get more noticeable on the street with its cidery. Yeah, definitely. It's a local juice place. Okay. Oh, and gourmet fine foods. Definitely something to check out. Got a few seats outside too, so looking forward to that. Maybe Bayham will pop in there sometime in the near future. Over here is that Australian savory meat pies restaurant, Peaked Pies. Then you got the Denman Cigar Shop. And Kick Babes. And then at the end here, after the A&W, you got Muse Cannabis. One of the more informative places. And from one of the more informative cannabis stores in the neighborhood, to be honest with you. And we're at the intersection of Nelson and Denman. And that would be east on Nelson Street. You're looking down right now. Or south. Southeast. Alright, so across the street here. And continue walking. This is one of the more tourist friendly or tourist popular areas in the neighborhood. So if you are planning on coming down here, especially on a Friday night or a Saturday night, doesn't hurt to call ahead. Try to get reservations if there's a specific restaurant you want to go to. But if there isn't a specific one, there's plenty of other places that are open where you can get some really good food. Just depends on if you want to go somewhere specific or you're open to going wherever you can find a seat, because it gets busy. I'll cross Comox Street here. I'll just walk down the other side of the street for a few minutes, just to show you some of the cool restaurants. So this would be the intersection of Denman and Comox. And local 7-Eleven is across the street. And in that convenience store, you can find regular convenience stuff, but you can also get pizza and wings and chicken sandwiches and stuff like that. So, lots of options. I'll continue walking here. Then we'll continue walking on Denman Street here over to English Bay Beach. I got pizza, you got vegan, you got Italian, you got falafel and falafel across the laneway here. So yeah, plenty of options. Of course, if I was on this part of the strip, I'd probably be going actually over to the Frying Pan restaurant across the street here during happy hour. Really, 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 really good. Just really, 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 really good. We make nice, spicy Korean fried chicken sandwiches. Oh, so good. And a bunch of other stuff too that is just as equally good. And their fries, they got good fries. So this is the intersection of Pendrell and Denman. Yeah, if you continued in that direction along Pendrell, you'd end up over at Stanley Park. Our turn. Over here is where Bay calls it the mini Donlands. A lot of these restaurants have square boy prices. Square boy prices for Vancouver, not square boy prices for Toronto. So there's a caveat there. But if you're from Toronto, you know what square boys is. You know those prices are pretty darn good. And so we are going and eating down here in that little strip where they sell all the kebabs. Really good place to just stop by. Over here's a bunch of nice restaurants. Any of these restaurants you will not be disappointed if you go in. Some of them are a little pricier, some of them are a little cheaper. Just depends on what you're looking for. This would be the intersection of Denman and Davie Street. And across the street, Davie does continue, but it's actually now part of what we would consider Morton Park. And that's where the Amazing Laughter sculpture is, nicknamed the Laughing Man. There goes one of the number 6s, and here's one of the number 5s. I just gotta back up. Looks like he had to cut the corner a little tight. It's nice the bus driver gave me a heads up. Bus drivers over here are really, really nice and really appreciative of the riders. But you know, the riders do pay them dividends and saying thank yous and respecting them. Something that we didn't really experience too often in Toronto. Fortunately, the TTC isn't the same. Over here is English Bay Beach. It's a bit windier today though. There's about 23 knots out. So there is a little less traffic out today. Vancouverites got accustomed to the warm weather really early. A couple months ago, to be honest with you. So that's just the situation. You can see the beach crowd is here. Now it is like 3:45 in the afternoon, so you're not gonna get everyone out here. Like, it's not like a Friday night crowd, which would be really packed. But hey, looks like it's low tide too, so bonus beach, sweet. And you're at low tide, you get extra beach. And a really sweet spot for skimboarders. And that's it. So I'm gonna end my walk here. Thank you for coming along, and just remember to share, like, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later, folks, okay? Here, I'll leave you with a shot of the beach. Have a good day, folks.